Transform Your Life, Book 2. Some readings. Just going to go straight to the introduction. Nothing in life stands still. Change is constant, inevitable. As you read these words, you are moving, growing, changing, even knowing this. We often live in resistance to change and therefore to life itself. We cling to old circumstance and identities like a newly hatched butterfly holding on to its own chrysalis as it learns to spread its wings. When change is thrust upon us, it often triggers total transformations. Today, these phenomena are happening in record numbers. As the world changes around us, many of us feel a deep longing for something more. For connection, love, joy, peace, and meaning. We are all awakening, each in our own way and each in our own time. For some of us, the shift begins when we're overcome with grief or after a tsunami of unwanted pain. It's not funny, actually. For others, the shift begins when we experience a divine spark of inspiration, perhaps from a synchronistic event or the powerful stories in an inspirational book. Wink, wink, they say. How mass change leads to personal transformation. You've probably heard the idiom, "Don't upset the apple cart," and its warning not to disturb the way things are done for fear we might mess them up. Our culture encourages us to strive for mediocrity and the status quo. If you've ever experienced transformation in your own life, you likely met with resistance from well-meaning loved ones who cautioned you not to change. We go about our lives collecting apples and piling them neatly into our carts. When the road gets bumpy, we lose all the apples. Our primary goal is to traverse the challenge unscathed, apple cart intact. A tremendous amount of our energy goes into sustaining the apple cart, discreetly tucking rotten ones underneath shiny ones, afraid discarding the bad might cause too great a shift. When we encounter new apples, we face them with intense skepticism, unwilling to bite into the unknown. But that is starting to change, and many are becoming willing to taste new flavors as we find ourselves at a precipice of human transformation. Global economies are shifting, causing many of us to lose our jobs, our houses, our possessions, as well as the mind-made identities that we have wrapped up in such things. To put it plainly, our apple carts are being upset. They are being upset. When tipped on its side, the apples that were meticulously tucked out of sight are now obvious and exposed, rotting in the sun. How embarrassing, or not. When challenges happen, many people breathe a sigh of relief, often to their own surprise. With nothing left to cling to, we finally let go. Once the apple cart is tipped, people begin to honestly examine the decay and toss out what no longer serves them. The relationships, the jobs, the locations, the stuff. Before we know it, we have completely transformed. How personal change leads to mass transformation. What was that previous one again? How mass change leads to personal transformation. Okay, so there's a figure of 8 there, is there? Okay. If you too have found yourself standing in awe of the remnants of your old life, your old identity, and finally, in integrity with your true self, join the club. You are not alone. Shift, transform, become. Do it for yourself, and do it because you know that bearing the depth of one's soul and letting the true story of personal transformation, bearing the depth of one's soul and telling the truth of one's true story of personal transformation creates a ripple effect of inspiration throughout humanity. It does. As author Marianne Williams says in a Return to Love, Reflections on the Principles of A Course in Miracles, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented and fabulous? Actually, who are we not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. I'll let them away with the use of the word God. And when we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. True. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. True. About the book, Transform Your Life, Book 2 is the second in a series of truly inspirational books co-authored by a diverse mosaic of experts and real-life heroes from around the world, from healing through illness and transforming through loss to discovering life's greater purpose. Transform Your Life, Book 2 will open your heart and inspire you to look deeper and dream bigger. Each author offers a unique perspective in this powerful book. Each is filled with proven tools to transform your life and personal success stories about overcoming the odds, thriving through challenges, and living life to the fullest. After reading this book, you'll feel empowered to embrace transformation, turn tragedy into triumph, and express more of your true authentic self. Allow the authors to Transform Your Life, Book 2 to pay it forward by sharing their hearts, souls, stories and wisdom with you. You may even discover the key that unlocks the power of your own story contained within the pages of this transformational book. Thank you for transforming with us, Natalie Rivera and Joelle Rivera, though it's not written here. The ripple continues. You can pay it forward by sharing the inspiration contained within this book with your family and friends. We want to touch the hearts of as many people as possible and encourage them to embrace their transformation. Below are ideas for ways you can help spread the word. Buy a copy for someone in your life who could use a dose of inspiration. Recommend the Transform Your Life series to people you know. Join us on Facebook. Join them on Facebook. Leave them a review. Email Natalie and Joelle your questions. Share your story with others, or submit it to Natalie and Joelle. And it does say download the ebook on Kindle or Nook or iTunes or Android and leave feedback. Thank you for transforming with us. Your support allows us to continue to follow our purpose. Section 1, Overcoming and Striving. Overcoming and Thriving. Living with cancer. Healing with the Power of Community and a Sense of Honour by Kathleen Johnson. You've got cancer. I don't recall anyone actually saying those exact words to me. Doctors today dance around the subject and come up with synonym phrases almost as if they are afraid to say those words. But the bottom line is that when this diagnosis hits, and it strikes so many people these days, it's what we do with the information that determines whether we will end up living or merely existing. I Choose Living by Kathleen Johnson. This isn't my work, this is Kathleen Johnson's work. I will never forget when the surgeon came into my hospital room to tell me he had something to say. I knew the moment he walked through the door that he was about to tell me what was originally diagnosed as stage 1 rectal cancer was actually much worse, according to the surgical biopsy followed after removing my original tumour and creating an ileostomy. Got lost somewhere along the lines there. I'll go back to worse. I knew the moment that he walked through the door that he was about to tell me that what was originally diagnosed as stage 1 rectal cancer was actually much worse, according to the surgical biopsy formed after removing my original tumour and creating an ileostomy. It's a bit of a long sentence, people. An alternative way for the body to remove waste, also known as a bag. Okay, we get the gist, but it's a bit of a long sentence. Is this NLP technique? He very calmly informed me that the cancer was stage 3, involving some of the lymph nodes that were outside of my colon area. My husband immediately fell apart with worry and grief. At that moment, I just very calmly looked at the physician and asked, "So what do we do about it?" That was the beginning of my journey into living and gaining appreciation for the support of a growing community around me. The months that followed involved discussing I'll read that again. The months that followed involved disgusting things that really can't be discussed at the dinner table. Did it involve disgusting things? Or did it involve discussing things? Maybe I should be a proofreader. Maybe I could be a proofreader for you, Natalie and Joelle. How about it? I'll get back on track. I knew that folks would want to know what was going on and that I needed some sort of outlet to vent my feelings on. To vent my feelings on. Or through. To vent my feelings through. No, to vent my feelings on. Because when we vent our our feelings on something or someone. Okay. So I started a blog. What a cathartic thing a blog can be. It allowed me to describe all of the horrible things that were happening to my body, while also offering an outlet to temper my emotions through writing. It's a nice way to put that. I knew that some of the people reading this blog were not medically savvy, and I also knew that if I really allowed all of my emotions to come through, they would become ingrained in my being and fester into feelings of anger, frustration, and self-pity. Still, the blog was a perfect outlet. By writing things as they happened and receiving feedback from my many readers, I was able to focus on gratitude for life. Everything from the incredible meals that were delivered to the house, to phone calls from those who were almost complete strangers wishing me well. Gratitude is a powerful healer. Of course, Bob was a huge part of the whole journey and continues to be a part of my journey even today. Bob is the name I gave my ileostomy. It was important for me to be able to discuss this new nasty appendage in my life in a way that the general public could understand. I also needed to give Bob a separate identity because even though he was now a part of me, he wasn't me. This allowed me to bring humour into something otherwise unspeakable. After all, everybody poops, right? It's okay for the world to get all excited and wrapped up in children as they learn the many functions of life. But after that, it's a bit taboo to discuss things like excrement and waste removal. Yet Bob forced me into that world as an adult. My husband and I have never had children, and I've often wondered if this was God's little way of getting back at us for not procreating. But I digress. Every few days I would submit an entry into my blog. Most of the time, Bob was the topic of the conversation. Bob was quite an angry being. At one point he vomited for over 21 days solid. Bad Bob. Through my writing and my life, Bob took on a personality of his own, and more importantly for my followers, Bob allowed them to comprehend what I was going through. Several months after I began the blog, I realized that there were actually folks out there waiting to see what I had written. It was amazing to me that I had incredible mental, emotional, and even physical support from people who didn't even know me. All because they were in on my story. And it became apparent to me that by sharing my story, I was helping them too. It's so easy to just shut down and opt out of life when something like this happens. But the magic that occurs when we open ourselves up is incredible. The power of community is one of the strongest healers around, and I got the chance to experience that power. Remember, this is Kathleen Johnson's work we're talking about here, not mine. It all comes down to gratitude. I will never be one to utter those words, "I am so thankful for my cancer." That's just baloney. I don't believe anyone is ever grateful that he or she must go through the horrific things that accompany a cancer diagnosis. However, the incredible things that come as a result of a cancer However, the incredible things that come as a result of a cancer experience can be tremendously fulfilling and can truly change the course of one's life. For example, as a result of this journey, I am now able to connect with people on a much deeper level. I even started to mentor quite a few people going through the same experience. Colorectal cancer is not a sexy cancer. I know. There's no such thing as a sexy cancer, right? Nobody talks about the disease because it's just messy. By having the opportunity to connect with people going through this same journey, I honestly feel that we are healing one another and creating a community of support and survival. Too many people sit in their homes and become hermits, especially after getting an ileostomy. With all the nasty things that go along with a bob, it's easy to do just that. But life needs to be lived, mess and all. That's quite good, actually. Trust me, there is incredible life before, during, and after a serious cancer diagnosis or event. The trick is finding gratitude and a sense of community, and allowing that to inspire you to experience the beauty of living. Kathleen Johnson, MBA, is a biker babe who traded her Harley for an ileostomy bag named Bob. A passion for writing has always lingered in her soul, but it took a life-changing journey through cancer to ignite the spark to share her thoughts on life with others by offering inspiration and hope through her humour and brutal honesty. Armed with an MBA specialising in healthcare management, she works for a major pharmaceutical company, which inspires her passion for connecting to people in the healing arts. She can be reached at Kathy with a K, J26 at gmail.com. KathyJ26 at gmail.com. She is open to mentoring others living through health crises. Okay? Thank you.